accordance, we recognize the members of the public who have signed up to provide comment as stipulated in policy 903. When your name is called, please approach the podium, state your name, confirm you're a resident or a taxpayer of the district, and topic of discussion for the record. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not an individual. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The privilege to speak may be interrupted, revoked, or a recess of the meeting may be called by the chair. The speaker does not observe reasonable form and orderly conduct. Thank you. Duane Sullivan, you're up.
Thank you. Well, I'm here tonight to speak on Fred Miller's behalf. He's a longtime friend of mine. I've known Fred a lot of years. He's a pillar in the community. He's definitely done a lot in Lowerstown as well as other areas that you all know. He asked me to say a few things tonight. This is coming from Fred, not from me, so I do want the board to understand this. Fred had a hearing problem, and nobody on this board would address it. Nobody would move him. I asked Carl back in the 5th month this year to move him, and he didn't move him, but he did allow Mary and Janelle to put usable chairs for 3 months. Obviously Fred couldn't hear, he couldn't read lips. Some of the people in here speak very lightly. He couldn't hear. He was struggling to understand what was being said. And on the 5:20 meeting on the stage, he put him down the very end of the row, which made it impossible for him to even read lips, let alone hear. This has been a prevalent problem in Littlestown. This happened with a previous board member who had a hearing disability, who left several years ago. Then you had people come up to this podium and attack him, personally attack him, saying one board member who can't hear 75% of the meeting, and we all knew who that woman was, can't even remember what he voted on. I mean, literally the attacks were atrocious. Now I'm going to get into, he told me to make note that there was one of the reasons why he left, another reason why he left was the corruption within this board. He saw a lot of illegal stuff going on, and I'll personally attest to one of them. When the recording guidelines were approved, I went to eat with Fred that night, and it's very unusual for Fred not to eat. That man was having the worst indigestion I've ever seen a man have in his life. And why he was having it? Because of the recording guidelines. He knew that it was legal to record a public meeting. He knew that this was being done to push me around and push another citizen around. He knew it. And it bothered him that much. That was the straw that broke the camel's back with Fred Miller. And then I'm going to get into Brian Lawyer. He told me to mention, and I can do this under a case law out of Philadelphia, 2021. Yes, I can call out a name.
No, you do not.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So this individual. No, I can call it out. There's a case law out of Philadelphia where you can't stop it. You can't stop it. You can't stop it.
We pause while the attorney adjusts this. I need you to clarify your reasoning behind noting one board member. Your reason behind that.
My reason behind that is because Fred asked me to say it.
No, your actual, what the purpose is of that, before you can go on.
He just wanted to mention that he was chastised in the meeting for his vote.
Okay, that you can't do, because if I'm correct, you cannot defame an individual over those comments. If Fred wants to come in and do that, he has the ability to, but you cannot defame a specific individual under that. Okay? Go ahead, you're back on.
Okay, well, in that case, since I'm not really allowed to say anything for Fred, according to everybody else, Fred did say he's fed up with all the evil stuff the board was doing and then covering it up. He said that 2 of the board members went AWOL. We both know who the two are. And I'm going to make a note as to this newspaper article. This article was BS. I wish somebody would have called Fred and not Mitchell to do this article, because Fred was not, he did not graduate in the early 60s. He graduated in the mid-50s. And there are mistakes in this that really made Fred mad. When this article came out, he called me from work. And he told me, how dare them write an article about me without calling me, without confronting me, without asking me anything. And he was furious about it. And so I'm just here to say, you got it all wrong in this article. He also did not want that agricultural $7,500 to go to a mobile unit. He wanted it to go to the agricultural club within the district. He mentioned that to me the other day, and I said, fine, I'll say something, and we'll just go from there. These are the things that Fred asked me to say. I'm not saying this. Fred asked me to say it. So he obviously didn't want to come in here because he'd be mixed up on his thoughts and words on the situation in the heat of passion. So here I am, and I want to thank you for giving me the time for mentioning this. And again, we should remember that Fred has served honorably in many committees, many events. He's a very good person, and he really shouldn't have been treated the way he was treated by board members as well as administration. So in that case, I'm done, and we'll just go from there.
As to your comment on January 30th, 2024, property supply, you made a complaint at 5456 that Director Miller could not hear. Fred stated that half the people who speak, but Director Miller stated at 55 minutes and 58 seconds when discussing the microphone. Well, don't do this for me. I will function somehow. Also on February 5th, 2024 work session, he discussed that he's got hearing aids now. So I'm assuming these are all
Carl,
correct.
Fred was a proud man.
You're done, you're sitting down.
Well, I'm going to just say that now.
That was a rebuttal to your statement that.
Well, that's ridiculous. Fred Miller was a proud man.
I understand that, I'm not arguing.
He didn't want to look like a weakling, and now you're making fun of him. That's how you are, Carl.
I'm not making fun of him.
You are making fun of him.
No, I'm not. I'm stating what he said, his words. Not your words, not your words.
Because he was a proud man.
Okay. Susan Johnson.
Jeez.
I wasn't going to talk about Fred, but I will say you have to give reasonable accommodations regardless of whether the individual specifically asks for that reasonable accommodation or not. You knew there was an issue and you didn't address it, period. So, and you know that there was an issue before, but I'm not going to speak any more about that. I would like to turn